Hello and welcome to a new episode from the Qigong Academy podcast. Today we want to talk about conferences, specifically Qigong conferences, and why should you go there, and which conferences are out there, and what is our experience. So, John, do you want to start? What is your experience from going to Qigong conference? And I know that you've had a speech here and there as well. So, yeah, go on.
Yeah, we don't have many conferences going on in the UK, so generally it's something that I have to go abroad for. And the first thing that I find that is just amazing is that you suddenly realize how different Qigong is in every single country that you go to. Every single group of people interact with it differently, and that is so valuable. Um, we tend to, my experience around teaching Qigong is that I'm either running my own classes or I'm going to familiar classes or I'm with familiar groups. And it kind of turns into a weird kind of echo chamber where you just hear the same things over and over again and nothing really challenges you. And if Qigong's a practice that's about freedom and about creating space and about unlocking the things that are stuck within you, I think you need to be willing to be challenged. And I find going out to conferences to be just this beautiful experience of understanding all these people who've got such vast to spending time with people who've got such a vast understanding, but a completely different perspective to mine. Um, and the ability for us to share ideas and work together in those spaces, I just think is so, so rich. It's so important to have those opportunities.
What is the most challenging aspect you faced when you go to a conference like that?
I'm really not a fan of hierarchies that have no relevance.
Yeah.
You've got I remember being at a conference a few years ago, and there was one of the highly regarded teachers who was ignoring everybody because he was highly regarded. Nobody was, no one's worth talking to other than like a few select people. And you were just like, that's not the nature of the practice. You've only got to go back and, obviously I'm very specifically talking from a Jineng perspective here. You just hear over and over again Pang say in all of the documents and letters and teaching, no hierarchy. Everybody is your student, everybody is your teacher.
Mm.
Um, there it, there should be an ability for us to listen to each other. And I think it's such a shame because conferences can turn into sales pitches.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
And when it turns into a sales pitch, then the person who's selling you something has to have great belief in what they're selling. And then after a while, you tend to find the brittle ego of the teacher or the guru, the person who has to be more important because that's part of their sales strategy,
Mhm.
which again is it's not Qigong.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, creating a kind of a show on stage that people book a ticket for your show.
Yeah, yeah. Look at me. I can set fire to little bits of paper with my chi. Well, yeah, great.
Okay.
That's kind of yeah. We're recording this in the middle of a drought and it's really dry around here, so I'd rather not talk to you at the moment. You might start fires. There's
Great
no
wisdom.
practical application.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Okay. What is your nicest experience like, and why is it maybe beneficial for everybody to go to this type of conference, or
I
even
think
for people who are into Qigong, or even not? Yeah, go on.
okay, so for me, I have like stand-up moments that stick in my head, and it's mainly with the German Association. Um, and it's there are times there that everybody is, especially when everybody is engaged in something together that isn't necessarily Qigong. I find that to be a really powerful place. Um, I think that quite often when and I've seen this over and over again through the years, that if you take a group of people and you say, right, we're now going to practice body mind form, or we're going to practice lift you up, put you down, you can spot the people in the room who are going, "Oh, I know this. I'm good at this. I'm going to stand near the front." Um, no, you can spot the people who are going, "Oh, I don't know this one," or "I'm not very good at it. I'm going to stand at the back."
Mm.
And you can kind of see that wave of separation happening, and and it's such a shame. The times that it doesn't happen are the times that are really valuable. So when you get groups of people together and everybody is going, I don't know, I've never done this before. I'm just engaged in it.
Mm.
And again, it strips out the hierarchy, it strips out the ego. Everybody's just, it could be sound work, it could be breath work, it could be walking practice, it could anything like that that isn't about being a performing monkey.
Remember the workshop at your place, being a monkey?
Oh, the one that you had everyone crawling around in the grass. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've still got the photos.
No, no, don't go, no, don't go this way. Yeah, see your point. See your point. So, can you say that is a place where you can challenge yourself if you want to, yeah, ask yourself and your patterns what you're doing. Like, maybe if you don't know the practice, go in the first row. That people can see you because you're proud of yourself or whatever to be here, and you're open to start a new practice
Uh,
and to yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And if somebody says, "Oh, we're going to practice this," and you feel yourself going, "Oh, I know this one. I'll go to the front." Um, then you know, notice that you've done it.
Mm,
Have some degree of awareness of what's actually happening. Um, and you don't need to beat yourself up about it. You don't need to judge yourself about it. You don't need to be harsh on yourself. But please act with some awareness of what's going on. Um, because otherwise, you're not really doing, you might be good at the movement, but you're certainly not good at Qigong.
mm.
You know, if you talk about being skillful with your energy, if your energy is all about self-promotion and look how good I am at this and look how well I can perform that, um, is that Qigong? I'm not convinced it is. I think that's performance.
Fair point, I would say.
But
Should
and
you should you stay also at the location when you're at this type of conference?
oh, I've always valued that.
Why?
Um, I think it's important to be,
Because it's not
I,
a retreat, isn't it?
yeah, um, I think definitely on retreat, it's kind of important to be there. When we used to run long retreats in the UK, I remember one of the teachers having a conversation with us saying we need to hold the chi field 24 hours a day. We need to be here for the whole time. Because when you go into retreat work, you can go into stronger work for people and they can have stronger reactions and they can have reactions at any point. So you need to be there for them. So if you're doing retreat and not, multiple day workshop, I mean retreat, and I'd say there's a difference between those.
You
If you're
can
doing,
differentiate if you want.
um, okay, a workshop is just like a series of today we're going to learn this, and tomorrow we're going to learn that, and then the next day we're going to pull it all together and we're going to turn it into this, and then on the last day we're all going to go out for a party. You know, just like
That's good.
being slightly mean, but
Yeah.
that to me is workshop, whereas retreat it's absolutely in the name. A retreat is somewhere where you withdraw and you withdraw into the practice. So retreat is going to be longer periods of practice. There's going to be less sense of structured progression through the days.
Mm.
It's a space in which you come back into yourself. I always like there to be a degree of quietness within retreat so that you can withdraw and notice your patterns. So all of these are part of retreat as opposed to workshop. And in those places, when you're working in that way, when you're really exploring the true power of the practice, people need support. So you have to be there for them and they have to be there. if you do that kind of thing and then you're staying off site, you're staying in a far nicer hotel than the grotty retreat center that they've booked. Um, you're not really on retreat. You're going to have an experience
Yeah.
so that you can tick it off and go, I've done that.
Yeah,
Um,
I know what you mean.
so yeah, on retreat you have to be there. If we're in a multiple day workshop and the accommodation is spread out, the accommodation is spread out. That's not a problem. And in conference, I'd say it's kind of much the same, but conference it feels more about everybody being together than workshop feels like everybody following the structure. So I'd say in the greater scheme of things, it's more important for us to be staying on site at conference than a multiple day workshop, um, in order to get the most from it.
From which conferences are you talking about? That we don't just generalize that because I personally just know the German Qigong Association conference.
That yeah, I mean this is the one that sits like that is really prominent for me just because it's something that I've found to be very powerful. We've got another one coming up next week over in the Netherlands, which I've never done a conference in the Netherlands. I'm curious to see what that's like. I'm really excited about it because I feel kind of deeply uncomfortable about it. I know that my flight turns up and I haven't got time to get from the airport to the conference center before it starts. So I know I'm going to be arriving late.
Ooh.
I know that when I get there, there's going to be nobody to meet me because they're all going to be in a session. I know that I'm going to have to kind of integrate quietly in the background. I know, but other than that, I know nothing. And that to me is really exciting because it means that I'm walking into a completely fresh situation and I will be learning right from the start.
Mm.
Um, when you do online conference work, and I've been involved in these before as well, um, there's something about the people who just turn up in order to do their bit and never listen to anything else that's happening. Um, I did a conference earlier in the year for acupuncturists, and there was one of the guys who turned up who he kind of, you knew that he'd rocked up just to do his bit and he was leaving straight away afterwards because there was no continuity. There was no referencing other things that were happening. There was no fitting in. There was no taking people from this place into this place. It was just like, I've arrived. Now you've got to listen to me because I'm important. Here's my book. I'm selling it. There's a big stack of them here. Buy my book. Right, I'm off. Um,
Okay.
and you get all kinds of different things. I think the conferences that are very powerful are the ones that actually give you time to be together as a group and give lots of people the opportunity to actually stand up and lead, um, and have great conversations, learn from each other.
But that sounds not like the typical implication of the word conference, I would say. It's more like, I don't know, yeah, people who like the same hobby come together and hang out together.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that that is a good way for it to be. And it's okay to have like prominent speakers there and people who are going to come and express their opinion, but actually they are broadly irrelevant within the conference. The conference to me, the quality of the conference is about the people there and the interactions and the being in the space with other people who, as you just said, are passionate about the same thing. That's where the magic happens.
So
Uh,
therefore it makes sense to sleep at their location if it's possible to
to
connect
me,
with these type of people.
yeah, to me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if somebody is, I think the last one that we did out in Germany, there was one of the speakers who I think he turned up for his thing, and I think he turned up for maybe one or two other things across however many days it was. And you kind of felt that he'd just missed out.
Hmm.
Um, I think that being there is really the important thing.
Yeah, I remember the evening singing session and bonfire session and like that, which is like the true native original come together places as human being, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you haven't got to join in, but just to be there.
Hmm.
Um,
Without the context of we work or we have this official kind of um plans where in the before lunch we talk about that and that topic, or there is that and that speaker, or lunchtime out of that scope, right? Like before bedtime kind of scopy things, or even in the morning before the official part starts.
Yeah, yeah. And it could be that there's been somebody who's run a session and it's been massively impactful and people are still talking about it.
Hmm.
But it
Oh yeah.
could be that somebody's done a session and it kind of worked in the moment and then it's forgotten and it's past. And that's also perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the Dragon Dao Yin session you gave last year. Was it last year? Guess last year. Outside, in front of the building, and everybody just was dragon all the time. Really
Yeah.
loved that.
Yeah. And then once you come out of it, you turn around to someone who wasn't there and saying, "Oh, I was a dragon," and they were like, "Okay, right, bye."
Something like that. At least when you leave the conference, coming home.
Yeah, there's some experience that are just in the moment, and that's it. They just arise and pass.
When you should not go to this type of conference.
Um, I think there is. I think that the only point I would say that you shouldn't engage in this is if your concern about going is so strong that it's causing you a level of discomfort that is over and above what you're happy to cope with. Um, so to explain that, um, this trip that I'm doing uh, next week, um, there's the whole traveling and getting there. There's the way in which I get there. There's all of the stuff that's going on. Now, to me, I've got a level of I don't know what the hell's going to happen about it, but the level of I don't know what the hell's going to happen, I find to be quite exciting.
Hmm.
Now, I know other people who, if they were in a similar situation, they'd find that overwhelming. And in that situation, that's probably not the best thing. You don't want to be overwhelmed by even the thought of it. Um, but I think that there's also something about how soon should you get involved in this type of thing. And I think really getting in there and just experiencing it at any point. If you're interested enough to be with a group of people who've got a similar interest for a weekend, why wouldn't you go and spend a weekend with people with similar interest?
Fair point, I would say. Fair point.
Um, but yeah, there are other things. I've been invited to stuff out in like countries that cost an awful lot more to get to, out in China and places like that before.
Hmm.
And for me personally, just the cost, the financial cost, the time commitment, and everything else means that it's just not practical for me to do it.
Yeah, fair point. So,
So, it needs to be practical for you to do it as well.
hmm. All right. Cool. What is your title? Because I know that you will talk in on the Dutch conference. So, what is the title you bring with?
Oh, I was thinking yeah, when I've got involved in these things and they say, "What is your title?" Sometimes it means, what do what do you want to be known as? Master.
Okay.
Just like, no, go away.
Maybe
Um,
that's the English problem.
yeah,
What is the title of the keynote you bring with?
yeah. Oh no, I'm this time we're talking about making Qigong accessible.
What
Um,
does that mean? You flatten the ground, or?
I think that in brief terms, most people who get involved with Qigong at the moment, are already interested in Qigong, and that's why they get involved with that. They've already come across it somewhere. That's why they go and do it, or they've heard about it. Um, and it feels as if there's kind of a barrier for people to get access to it. And I think it's interesting to go, well, what is that barrier? And can we take that barrier? Can we either take the barrier away, or can we build a bridge so that people can engage with it without feeling that they need to go to a class that involves learning complex form, or they need to learn this theory or that philosophy? Um, and can you do it without diminishing what Qigong actually is? My sense is that we can. I'm really interested in this area, um, but I think it has to be done with a degree of understanding that I think sometimes we see. I mean, I was seeing something about someone locally who's teaching a yoga qigong class, and you're going, I don't know the person, I've never spent time with them, but the question that's immediately in my head is it doing both a disservice by smushing them together?
Mm.
Um, and I think that when you make it simple, you can rip the heart out of something, and you can turn it into, look, this is qigong because I wear these clothes and I stand like this. Um, and that's not qigong. The same as, yoga isn't about the clothes that you wear or the color of your mat. It's we need to do it in such a way as it maintains the heart of the practice, and it creates a solid enough building block that people then want to go and explore more. Um, and it doesn't make them go, oh no, it's just boring.
Mm.
Um,
Okay,
I
so like I can these three movements do, and that's done. Okay, I can do that. I'm a master of Qigong or yoga or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember years ago, I was asked to go and there was a company locally who was doing kind of they had a contract to do health and well-being within the health service in the UK, and I went along and I saw the main man, and he turned around to me and he said, "Oh, you do qigong?" He said, "I know all about qigong," and I was just like, "Okay, sorry, that's the wrong thing to say to me," because my immediate reaction was, "I've been studying it 20 odd years. I don't know all about it. Come on, tell me."
Have you done that?
Yeah, I did. I didn't get the job.
Oh,
But I wouldn't have wanted to get the job. I don't want to work with somebody who's turning around saying, "Oh yeah, I know all about it."
yeah, yeah, understand.
You know, I want to work with people who are curious. I want to work with people who are interested, who are on a constant process of learning.
Yeah, which isn't something like that you only want to work with people who know less about Qigong, right? It's about connection, it's about curiousness, it's about curiosity, it's about yeah, working with open people, right? In general, just open.
Yeah, yeah. It's always to me. It's always about the conversation. It's always about what we learn from each other. Um, you know, I really want to know what that crossover is between yoga and qigong, because I don't know anything about yoga. And the more people who've done both, the more interested in it I get. Well, what is it that sits between these two? Because my sense is that it's different paths to the same destination.
Yeah.
So what does your path look like? It doesn't mean that I need to go and walk everybody's paths. I'm actually interested in the destination. But to be so single-minded that I block out everybody else's perspective also isn't Qigong. It's
Mm.
not aware. It's blinkered. It's unaware. We should have the openness to have these conversations. And maybe they don't happen at conference because everyone's so Qigong focused. I don't know.
I tried to wrap that up and say, okay, that's a nice way to come back to our main topic, but yeah, okay. No,
Yeah,
but as I experience it, it's a really great way to connect to people, and you will know to which people you want to connect or not. Especially when people say, "Come on, join us on our table to have breakfast with us" or something. Then these type of people are normally the right people in my understanding. And it's just, yeah, like a gift to meet these type of people, especially people from different countries, different perspectives, with different narratives as well, even
yeah,
in combination with Qigong. So
yeah, yeah,
even if it's
absolutely.
just for the good food.
Well, you say that. I remember going back to the last one in Germany. There was a guy there from Poland who had absolutely no English. I don't think he had much German either. Uh,
I guess.
and and I have, I have pretty much no German. I can understand words here and there, but we got partnered in something, and we just had the most amazing experience. Well, we just had the most amazing experience because we couldn't talk to each other. we couldn't make sense of what each other was saying. So we just had to be together and just follow what was happening the best we could. And at the end, just the sense of connection that existed between us was just, it was somehow very special. The fact that we'd done it without words, and those types of experiences, that they're just gold. They're absolute gold.
Was that the person who ran Qigong Academy in Poland?
Yes, it was.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. I would say we wrap that up. We hit the almost the 30 minutes mark, and yeah, if you want to come to the Dutch conference, we link some stuff to that way in the show notes, and we invite you to come along. John will speak there, and yeah, I would say thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and see and listen you, or you will listen next week to the podcast.